WINS is another naming service similar to DNS, except instead of DNS, it's WINS, and it stands for Windows Internet Naming Service. Now, that's an interesting name because it doesn't run on the internet. It only runs on a local network, despite the name. This is, as it implies, it says Windows Internet Naming Service. So this is a Microsoft technology, and it tends to predate DNS. It was run on Windows networks prior to the internet. We don't often run it today, but there is some software and some types of older servers that still run WINS. Now, WINS is no longer, unlike DNS, WINS is not a hierarchical system. In other words, it relies on a single name. It's not some name like redwood.service.com where each of those parts of that name are some hierarchy. No, it's just a single name. It's the NetBIOS name, which is limited to 15 characters on a machine, and that NetBIOS name can be translated to IP addresses through this WINS server. It is a flat system. There is no more of this, well, one WINS server is responsible for certain computers and another server is responsible for certain computers. No, that's the way DNS works, but not WINS. This WINS server will have all of the registrations of all of these computers on it. Now, there may be another WINS server here, and they may share in order for load balancing and that kind of thing, but they would replicate and have all of the records for all of the computers on that network, and it does not work outside of the network. Now, there are some technologies to allow it to work outside of the network and on the internet, but we're not going to get into those. NBT is an example of that if you're interested in looking that up. Now, how would I tell these computers where the WINS server is so that I can register my NetBIOS name with the WINS server? Well, let's go to, and I'm going to move this thing down here so that you can see. I'm going to go here to my settings, and then I'm going to go up to Network and Internet, and I'm going to go down to Change Network Adapter Options, and then we will right-click. Does any of this look familiar? We did this before when we were setting up DNS, the Ethernet adapter, and I'm going to go down to Properties. Now we'll choose the IP version 4 Properties. Now, you've seen this. This is where we set up the IP address, the subnet mask, the default gateway, and the DNS server. But if we want to set up a WINS server, we would click the Advanced button, and now we have a tab that says WINS. And here is where I could click Add and add the IP address of the WINS server on my network. So there, in a nutshell, is WINS. I'm not going to show the server side for this particular lecture.